Welcome back. As you can see, the next company on our radar is Suzlon Energy. We have the management right here with us in the studios, and it's been a blockbuster quarter, a great solid end to the year for Suzlon. Stocks right now is surging almost 10% higher last time I checked. So let's just quickly revise the numbers. 73% revenue growth, nearly 100% jump in profits. So let's find out what's working for the company and what the outlook is like. We have the company's CEO, JP Chalasani, as well as CFO Himanshu Mody right here in the studios to talk about the performance. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in. Great to have you on. What a blowout performance. I mean, top line and bottom line. I'm just looking at where you are. I think the wind turbine generator order book is about 5,555 megawatts. As of May 25, deliveries have been fantastic. Mr. Chalasani, I mean, tell us if this blockbuster performance kind of continues into FY26 also?
Yeah, I don't call it as a blockbuster. If you say that the last 24 months, quarter on quarter, we have been working hard to consolidate in various areas. You have seen us doing that on balance sheet. You have seen that doing an order book. And in fact, today we sit with 2,000 crores of cash instead of a debt on the book. And then we worked on organization, people and leadership. And that's what is actually showing the results today. Okay. So I think this is a result of, you've seen it's quarter to quarter. It's not just suddenly jumped up. Even in the quarter three, if you see, we've done well. We reach a stage where now we believe that, yes, we are now in a position to continue to have this growth and then meet what are the stakeholders' expectations from the sector and from the Suzlon.
So what's powered the performance in Q4? I think one is higher than expected deliveries. Most estimates in the streets were lower than what you've actually accomplished in terms of just more deliveries. And then the margin performance is also what the street really likes. I think the gross margin itself has gone up. So Himanshu, you want to comment on this, on what's driving the margin and whether this run rate of deliveries is continuing in this year as well?
So clearly, the larger theme that at play is, which we maintained all the time, that the economies of scale have now started to kick in for the company. It's early stages still. We've seen Q3, we saw some early signs. Q4 has, of course, seen, as a report, good gross margins on the WTG division. We've had about 23.6% gross margin on the WTG division. And we've always given guidance that close to 20%, but we've been able to exceed that by about 3.5%. And I think going forward in FY26, we are confident that we'd be able to maintain those margins for the WTG division at the gross margin level.
23% gross margin.
Yes.
Got it.
All right. Hi, gentlemen. Congratulations on a solid showing. Let's talk about the industry first up. There is that fear with regard to installations. I think for the last year, the installations moved to around 4.2 odd, if I got that number correct. For this year, for the industry, what kind of installation numbers are you looking at for the industry first?
Yeah, for the industry, I think we've been growing consistently.
Yeah.
Like if you look at FY24, it was 3.2 gigawatts, and we had a 28% growth in FY25, moved to 4.15 gigawatts. And then our expectation is that in FY26, the current year, it would be 6 gigawatts plus. And then this will keep, I said that last time also, it will keep going up, and then we should peak around 9.5 gigawatts. And the target of 2030 of 100 gigawatts, fine, we would be somewhere closer. I mentioned last time we should still be closer to that. So therefore, we'll continue to see the growth in sector as well.
Okay.
At this year, we are expecting 50% growth compared to last year to this year on the capacity additions, purely because the issues what were on the ground in terms of the land, in terms of the evacuation are getting sorted out. I'm not saying they're sorted out.
But they're getting sorted out.
But they're getting sorted out. So therefore, you would see the traction. In fact, as we were talking some time back, in April itself, first month of this year, we did 1 gigawatt, which has never happened.
Okay, all right. So that's for the industry, right? 6 gigawatt. Now, will you all maintain your market share? I think, sir, you know what's coming next. Last year, you did around 1.55. This year, just going by mathematics, last year it was around 37% from Suzlon. So 35%, is that a ballpark number we should work with in terms of as a percentage of the 6 gigawatt?
No, 6 gigawatts is a commissioning.
Yeah, commissioning.
So, and then 1.55 gigawatt, what we're talking about is supplies.
Yeah.
So the obviously, for the first time in our history that we gave a guidance saying that in FY26, we will grow by 60% minimum across the board. So that is not just giving a guidance of a number, and we are able to give a guidance for the first time, shows that we are now well prepared as an organization to see the future. And we would continue to grow, and we would continue to maintain that market leadership. That's we are pretty sure.
So
and the numbers wise, I'm not going to give exact number, but we said that 60% is what growth will see.
60%, just to clarify, I want to understand this. This is a 60% growth guidance across several parameters, deliveries, revenue, EBITDA, all growing at 60%.
Yeah, except the commissioning, which would be 3 to 4x.
Right.
Not just 60%.
Okay, let me,
60%
gentlemen, morning. So while you continue to execute, is the sector also growing, or you think it's? I mean, power demand has been kind of weak, right? I mean, this year, the last year, maybe it'll pick up over a longer period of time. And the second point is, we've been hearing more and more that PPAs, there are lots of delays in terms of PPAs being signed, is exactly because of these reasons. I mean, there needs to be demand revival. Is that a problem at all?
Yeah, I think Prashant, the demand being there or not being there is a bit difficult situation in power sector to understand. There is a demand in terms of energy. There's a demand in terms of megawatts. Okay, these two are two different things. If you look, because generally people are commenting today, in the daytimes, during the solar hours, we are seeing the demand not being there. In fact, the supply being more than the demand.
Correct.
Okay, that's the reason you've seen in the exchange, the prices have come down to zero. Not only that, the grid frequency is going up during that period of time. But having said that, in the evening peaks, we are expecting shortages, continue to expect the shortages, and that's growing. Even if you look at on the exchange, it's growing. So when you look at even the energy demand is expected to grow around 5.5 to 6% energy demand. So therefore, there is a demand. It's a question of at what point of time in a day in your load curve, what you need. So therefore, there could be a subdued demand for solar, but there will continue to be demand for the products like combined solar, wind plus storage, or the wind plus storage. That will continue because during the wind generation hours, the demand is growing. And that is reflected in the prices.
There is no issue with, I mean, there's storage there as well, right? I mean, what you're saying is when the sun is shining, I mean, there is enough demand, there is enough supply, so prices are low, but then peak later evening hours is when the demand picks up. And
it's exchange shows those prices.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think it is nothing to do with the solar or a wind or the storage. You have, in our country, we have a demand in a particular pattern. Okay, and you need to come out with a product which meets that load curve. So that could be the solar plus storage plus wind. It could be wind plus storage. It could be different things depending upon which state has what sort of a deficit at that point of time. The demand is there. Energy demand is there. So energy-wise, we have continued to grow at 6% level. There will be demand. There will be products which are different from the pure solar sort of thing. And there will be products which will have a combination of wind, solar, and storage at different levels, depending upon who is asking for what product. You have to design your product for that. Today, we talk about FDRE. There are 8 to 10 different types of FDRE.
Okay.
It's people talk about FDRE, but there are 8 to 10. Today, the customer demand saying that this is what is my load profile. Even if you look at the industrial segment, which is what is the maximum customer for us in terms of 55% of our order book comes from there, they have a demand profile. If I'm a cement industry, steel industry, I have a demand profile. So as per the demand profile, you design what capacity is needed in what combinations. That's going to be there. And it will never ever be in our country, if you're assuming that we'll continue to grow, and from fourth position to third position to second position economy.
It's only the rate of growth I was referring to. I mean,
rate of growth of energy from the electricity point of view, in million units point of view, there'll be at least 5.5 to 6% growth every single year.
Okay, just very quickly, the 60% growth that you're talking about and the improvement in deliveries and commissioning, which could be 2-3x, you're saying. I just wanted to understand, where's the bulk of the demand coming from?
If you look at our order book today, the significant portion comes from C&I, which is about 55% of our current order book. And the second one, which is growing, which has grown significantly during this year, is a PSU segment, which has now grown to 26%. Then you have the big portion of bid PPS. That's the reason where we talked about PPS not getting signed. But that's about 20% for us, 20-21% portion of it. So that's how it is. So therefore, the PSU segment is growing, and the C&I segment is growing, and we will continue to grow. We will continue to grow.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Great to have you in person, and good luck. It looks like a solid year ahead for Suzlon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.